This is Stuart from Servants of Science here with the Critical Fucking Thinking Podcast. Thinking shit through one podcast at a time.
When I tweet, they follow everything pretty much I say, so hopefully they'll give you guys a listen, and hopefully you get more fan base and people, jump on you. That was going to sound really guarded.
Edit that out.
You're going back to those stalkers again now, aren't you?
Exactly. I hope you have as many as I do. No.
Miguel is getting very offended during this interview.
Seems like we're talking about me. So, obviously, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'll let you continue on if you have more to say.
We derailed him, guys. God damn it.
Indeed.
Yes, our album, Critical Fall. Miguel singing songs as Pestilence. Pestilence! Since the first album is out, obviously, usually magicians. Yes, abracadabra.
We brought in public health awareness. I mean, come on. We care about our listeners.
We care about their balls. Is what you're trying to say? Jesus.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Critical Thinking Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, along with my co-host,
Rick the Rizzo, and our other co-host,
Sean.
And the other Mexican in the room, Miguel G.
And this is a critical look at all things gaming, movies, collectibles, and so much more.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a special guest with you today here. Our guest is Stuart Avis. Did I say that right?
Avis, yeah, that'll do.
From the Servants of Science. Science!
Yes, science! You had Thomas Dolby on our asses then, didn't you? How are you doing, guys?
Very good, thank you. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all. This is a much more respectable time than the call I had to do earlier. I'm a bit more with it now.
Good.
Hey, don't worry, we don't do professionalism here.
Oh well, I'm in excellent company then. So, that's good.
Now he's going to sign off. Thanks, Sean.
Shortest interview ever.
Exactly. As you can see, Stuart, I'm here. I made it. Miguel is in the house.
Yes.
These guys were looking kind of scared there. I don't know.
Well, what happened? Miguel had all these reasons for being late or whatever. He was in bed with a hangover, wasn't he?
God damn, Miguel, you should have shared.
Nice. No, yeah. I'm the social drinker, sir. The alcoholics are the other guys in this group.
Yeah, but he's always socializing.
Yeah, that's a good call.
He got you on that one.
I've been called a social butterfly before. I've been working on my Irish accent. Okay. I watched The Foreigner last night. I watched, what's his name, Remington Steele guy? Pierce Brosnan talk Irish all night. It was hilarious.
I've lived here my whole life. I'm still working on my English accent. I haven't mastered the bloody thing yet. Although I do say bloody, so there we go. That's about as English as it gets, isn't it, I think? So,
hey, that's what it's all about, man. You got the bloody down, you're good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just going to start saying fuck a lot.
There you go. You fit in perfectly. Fuck this show.
We're all good. Yeah.
So never ever before have you ever heard a musical band on our show? We're going different places. We're doing
still
different
haven't.
things.
You still
nice.
haven't.
Obviously, he's a stand-up comedian. So tell us. So I'm glad we're able to invite Stuart from Servants of Science on the show with us, and we'll be playing some of his music as we go through this episode.
Before we get to the question, just going to talk about yourself and your band just for a little bit here real quick.
Who you are.
Who you are.
Who we are. Who we are. We're nobody. I guess, yeah, I suppose we're a kind of sort of proggy, alt-rock kind of band. There's sort of Pink Floyd influence is certainly there. We're from Briton in England, down on the south coast, right by the seaside, but we never actually have any sunshine. That just isn't a thing. I don't know. You guys steal it all. You have it all over there. So
not here lately.
Yeah,
not lately.
Not lately. It's been pretty bad over there.
Oh yes.
Why are we talking about the weather? We're already on that already.
It's like we relate to that.
Going that well. Yeah, we've been knocking around for about, I don't know, just over a year now, putting this album together, The Swan Song, which is about an astronaut witnessing the end of the world while he's floating in space. Your typical pretentious prog rock affair, really. So it's good. The album's out now on CD. The vinyl is next month because that's just convoluted and it just takes a lot of more going into to press vinyl. Also, the manufacturing plant tell us. I think they're just getting drunk, to be honest. But there you go.
They're hanging out with Miguel too much.
What the hell?
They have, yeah, totally. I think actually we did deal with a guy called Miguel. I don't know if that's coincidence or not.
I say.
Did he say fuck a lot? Fuck this.
Yeah.
Did he have a horrible British accent?
Nice.
Yeah. He sounded like Dick Van Dyke's brother, so maybe.
It could be worse. It could be Ron Howard's brother. That dude's ugly as hell.
Yeah, that was actually when you said you were Pink Floyd influenced. That's the first thing I noticed when I listened to y'all. I was like, this kind of reminds me of Pink Floyd a bit. So I guess that was kind of like y'all's mentor kind of voice.
Yeah. I mean, we're sort of all huge fans. I mean, some of the band even know each other out of a mutual respect for Pink Floyd. Neil, our singer, and myself met via an internet forum 12 years ago. Which was a Pink Floyd one, and we just I put on this event where it was a load of people playing Pink Floyd songs, and he come and took part and ended up collaborating with us on the day, and yeah, we just sort of hit off a friendship from there, really. So Pink Floyd is kind of like the common ground with everyone in the band, but we like a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Flaming Lips are also another band that we all really like, and that kind of creeps in there too. Yeah, we're all kind of proggy sort of enthusiasts, but like a load of other stuff as well, and that kind of helps us mix it up a bit more as well.
Sean is ready. He wants to ask all kinds of deep, interesting questions as he's Irish himself.
Excellent. Fire away.
All right.
Fire away.
So, Stuart, for people that don't know a lot about your music genre, what is the proggy genre, really?
Well, I suppose the obvious bands are people like sort of early Genesis and obviously Pink Floyd and Yes and sort of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, those kind of bands. Those are kind of probably the best known ones. And then I guess there's a few other bands that sort of fit into that category, like Rush as well, who are kind of a bit more rocky but have prog tendencies. Who else? Even sort of people like the Moody Blues kind of fit into it too. So it's quite broad. More recently, I guess, Radiohead probably have prog appeal too. And those are kind of sort of the biggest bands that are more sort of household names that people would relate to. I could reel off a whole bunch of other bands, but that's really boring.
That's cool. So do you think there's a kind of a revival of proggies kind of coming back, or you guys kind of spearheading that?
Well, yeah, it seems to be coming back. I mean, one of the sort of best known names around at the moment is a guy called Stephen Wilson, and his band Porcupine Tree have over the last sort of 20 years or so been gradually sort of building up this following that's revived prog. I mean, it's never really gone away, but it's been much more underground than it used to be. There's a few sort of people like Marillion are kind of getting a good reputation again after sort of going off the radar, if you like. So there's a few that are paving the way for others to follow, if you like. I mean, I've played in a whole bunch of just crappy bands doing straight rock and stuff, and I've always wanted to do this for a long time, and I finally got the musicians to work with to do it now. So that's cool. So I don't know if we're really jumping on any bandwagon. It's just we're probably late to the party by about 50 years. So,
so speaking of band members, go ahead and tell everybody real quick your band. You give us the band guy, your mates, your running mates. We want to know who they are.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've got obviously myself on keyboards.
We want the real
we kind of mix. We've got Miguel on groupie, and we've got myself on keyboards. With the album, we kind of mixed up the roles a little bit, and people are playing different things and stuff. But for the live band, we've got dedicated roles. So I'm doing keyboards. Neil Beards, our singer, is obviously singing and playing acoustic guitar. Helena DeLuca, who's on the album, she's reprising her vocal role, doing some extra harmonies and playing rhythm guitar as well. She doesn't play guitar on the album, but she's a really good river player, so fair play. Adam McKee, who plays drums on a couple of songs, is going to be joining us as well for the whole thing. And Andy Bay, who I sort of did a lot of the work with on the albums, playing bass. And then finally, we've got Ian Brocken, who's joined us recently, doing all the kind of lead guitar duties and stuff. And the day I met Ian, he launched into the guitar solo of Fat Old Son by Pink Floyd. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to work with that guy at some point. He's not only playing Floyd, he's playing obscure Floyd. So that's really cool. So that's us, really. And we're rehearsing. We had a big rehearsal session yesterday for this live show we're going to be putting on, which is the whole album, and that'll have projections and stuff as well, so which illustrate the story. So it's a pain in the ass, really. It's just so much to do, but we're getting there.
So you guys are going the whole organic rock band growth route, all the grassroots and live performances and all the stuff you do.
Yeah. I mean, we've bypassed some of it in a way by doing an album first and letting that build a following. So our first gig is actually going to be at a festival, which is on March 31st in a place called Stourport in England, a festival called Fusion Festival. And that's rare for a band to kind of start there. But because we've managed to start building this following by having the album out and getting that to radio and so forth, that's sent a lot of people our way, and we've got this following without having sort of done a lot of the small gigs. Although I love doing the small gigs because they're just great fun, and you usually get thrown a load of beer as well, so you can't argue with that.
Always the plus
cool.
side.
Absolutely. But so we will be doing the whole sort of gigging route as well, but we've managed to kind of skip a couple of steps of that, which I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, but we'll see. I just like gigging, so it's kind of a shame to miss out on some of doing like the smaller things and just not having to worry too much about it and just get drunk and play. But we have to be kind of a bit more professional doing bigger gigs, so it'll be all right. We just make fools of ourselves in front of more people, so that's good.
Multiple questions for you here real quick. First of all, you said big gig. What's the biggest gig you've done so far right now? How many people would you say?
With Servants of Science or just myself in general?
Servants of Science.
We haven't gigged. We haven't actually gigged yet. We're prepping for that.
Yourself?
Yeah, myself, I played to 1,000 people in Hamburg.
Wow.
Germany. Yeah. In 2011, I think. Yeah. That was an eye opener. That was stepping out in front of all those people that expect you to be good and leaving them disappointed. But yeah, no, it was great. We put on a good show. But it was great. Yeah, that was good fun to do, and obviously just traveling abroad and playing is kind of a thrill in itself anyway. So, whatever happens, you're having a laugh with your bandmates, and it's just just cool really to do.
Now, I know you said you did the album already, and you've already leaked it to the radio stations. You said
that's right. Sorry, yeah. So
have you developed any kind of a following yet? Do you have like stalkers?
Not yet. I keep looking out the window, and there's no one sort of hanging about out there.
That's Miguel over there.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's right outside your door.
I go to bed disappointed every night, but then that's nothing new, really. So, Yeah, no stalkers as yet, but we're working on it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I had a question. So for you, how long have you actually been in the music industry, Stuart?
Well, I've worked in music since leaving school. I'm not sure if I should say how many years ago that was. But yeah, in one form or another, I've always worked in music. So, I mean, my first job when I left school was working in a record shop, and you start building contacts there and meet people that do work in distribution and things like that. And then I worked as a music promoter and I've worked as a DJ and stuff. So it's been a few years. I'd say about 25 years.
So you've experienced a broad spectrum of the musical industry. You've seen a lot of different sides to it. So what is really new for you with Servants of Science, aside from the fact that it's a proggy rock band and you're finally doing, like you said, what you really wanted to do all along? What else do you think is new about this experience?
Success. Everyone's thought our previous bands were bloody awful. Yeah, I think it's been a real sort of just a shock, really. You know, I mean, we thought our album was good, but you can never be sure if you think it's good because you've done it and, you know, you have a different attachment to it than anybody else has. But, you know, the first day of logging into the site and seeing that a complete stranger had bought our album was kind of a real buzz. You know, it's like, we've actually reached someone. And now that just keeps continuing now. And we're getting orders every day for the album from, you know, people all over the world that we have no idea who they are, but they found us and liked us. And that's pretty amazing. That's quite a new experience for us, because none of our previous bands have really kind of had that response. So it's kind of knocked us for six a little bit, really. And there's a very British phrase for you.
Break that down for us Americans.
Knocked us for six. So I suppose that's very cricket. What would be the say? Knocked it out of the ballpark or something like that. You know? Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Transferred it to baseball. That's great. We get that.
I find it very uplifting, not uplifting. What's the word I'm looking for here, Josh? Come on.
Inspiring?
Inspiring that, yeah, thank you there, Sean, because Josh is awfully quiet. Are you mute today? That you guys kept on plugging, and even though it didn't work the first couple times, and now you got your band, and your album is out and people are buying it, and you're so excited to see that people from, like, who are these people? And they're just buying the album. We get that. Yeah. I mean, we're not selling movies here, us at the Critical Four here, but we get totally, like, blown away when you have people reach out. Hey, we'd like to come on the show. Hey, we love your show. And this, I'm like, what? You actually listen to us? So we understand how gratifying it is for us to hear new people talk about us. So I can only imagine how amazing it feels to find someone actually purchase your work like that. That's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. There's not really, you can't really sort of explain that first one. It's just really amazing. You know, I mean, like getting played on the radio for the first time as well, you know, it was a huge thrill, and not all of us were sat around in the same room, but you know, we were messaging each other on Facebook and stuff. It's like, we're on now, you know, kind of thing. And it was great. You know, we got played on a station over in LA, a station called Deep Nuggets, and bless them, you know, they played the 10-minute song as well. So there was kind of like straight in, you know, with as much airplay as we could possibly get out of one song as well. So that was amazing. That was really cool. Yeah, the whole thing has just been sort of thrill after thrill after thrill, and so we're looking forward to kind of seeing how the live show goes down as well. So especially as we have a hometown one in April, there'll be a lot of people there that we know, which is going to pile the pressure on a bit as well, because they won't let us live it down if we suck. So.
That being said, I mean, you said you have your open show here and there. I know it's still early being a young band. Will y'all ever try to tour with bigger bands, like being their opening act?
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of working on that. We're trying various routes and avenues at the moment. Obviously, it's these sort of promoters that are behind these shows. They're almost impenetrable. You know, they're hard to sort of crack and actually even get a conversation out of them. So we're pushing and pushing and pushing, and at one point we will get that yes, I'm sure of it. And just as as things tend to grow as well. I've got some phone calls and stuff to make tomorrow when they're all back in the office, and I've got a little spreadsheet ready to annoy the hell out of a load of people. So that's going to be my task for tomorrow.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't forget us if you make it to the Americas. We definitely want backstage passes so we can all get drunk. Let's say fuck a lot. Fuck. That'll be your next song on your next album. We'll call it Fuck.
Where's the fucking rider, man?
Sean's the writer. Write him a song called Fuck. Inspired by the Critical Fall.
Yeah, I was about to ask that question. I said, would you be touring in the Americas anytime?
Is that like South America or North America?
Yeah, I mean,
that's everywhere.
This is the thing. We do have contacts over in America that can give us gigs. The tricky thing at the moment is the logistics of it, because it's sort of so far apart. You can do either end of England in a day, but America, obviously, it's such a much bigger place, and it's just the logistics of trying to make these couple of gigs that we can get at the moment work, and we need some more in between to kind of get us from one side to the other. And also there's the whole thing of sorting out visas as well is a massive ball ache, but if we can get the dates lined up, we'll definitely be looking to do that.
So that's definitely in the cards.
Yeah there's a few more things to sort out, but in terms of contacts for certain places, just to kind of bridge the gap between one end of the country and the other. But it's certainly something that can be done. We know we can do free shows in America at the moment, but that's not even going to pay for our food at the moment. So we just got to get like maybe 3 or 4 more just to get that in a position where it's going to be doable, because it's just the expense of it. We'll make it work.
So America's a stretch goal. You're going to get over here when you guys get bigger.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully. I don't know if the end of this year would be realistic. Certainly next year, anyway. Certainly next year.
That'll be awesome. We'll be looking forward to it. We'll be lined up at the front.
Cool.
What's the buzzing? What's the buzzing?
That's me messing with him.
Someone's messaging me. And guess who it is? It's Miguel.
I was hitting his Twitter account, just messing with him, letting people know that he's on Twitter, and you can always find him out there. Fucking Miguel.
All right.
Well, I want to take a few seconds break real quick here, so Sean can add in one of the songs, and it'll be one of my songs from your album that I really enjoyed, Kaleidoscope. I really liked it.
T-minus 17 seconds.
This is a new and strange environment. Suddenly find yourself in orbit.
Which way is up? There's only down. Falling like pebbles to the ground. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, that song, I was singing it as I walked in here, but no one had any clue what I was singing. They just looked at me like I was talking to myself.
Which he does on a regular basis.
Fuck y'all!
I thought you were actually just seeing if the connection was working when you were saying, "Can you hear me?" I thought that's what you were. I didn't realize you were singing our song.
I also said, "Can you see me?" Come on. I repeated it like 2 times, and then I gave you one more time of "Can you hear me?"
That's just his musical style. It's always in prose.
No, the album's great. I've listened to it a couple times here. Listened to it on the way up here again. Like I said, I drove back and forth a couple times to make sure I could get it in because you play them long songs.
I love the long songs, by the way. That's one of my favorite things. I'm kind of sick of the pop bass. Like, it's only like 2 minutes long. It's like, fuck that stuff, man. It's not long enough.
There it is. Let it be known, Stuart, that he likes things long.
Oh, man. Oh, man. This is getting cut. I'm not letting you use that.
Fuck you, Sean.
I think that's probably where you should start.
So, all your songs on your album, which one speaks to you the most? Which one is like your baby, your favorite?
I guess probably "Burning in the Cold," the last track, just because that was the one that kick-started the whole thing, the very first thing we worked on. So by starting there and kind of actually achieving the sound that I've always wanted to do was a real kind of thrill to do that. And so that's what made us decide to carry on as a band and write all these other songs. So that's the one that really kind of speaks to me, I guess, the most, because it's the one that enabled this to be a band, really. And most of us are on that as well. There's a lot of people just doing even just tiny little bits, and we threw so much into it. There is just for my own amusement. It's pretty much sort of inaudible. But there is actually one of the cymbal crashes is underpinned with me hitting the kitchen sink with a drumstick because we just threw so much in, which is just for my own little personal joke. We've even got the kitchen sink in there on that song. So yeah, that's the one that probably speaks to me the most. But then it's kind of also there's a big science fiction thing to that song, and that's kind of a big part of my childhood growing up, with Star Wars and Flash Gordon and all those kind of things. And so yeah, that's probably the one that does speak to me the most and probably means the most. And everybody seems to think it's their favourite as well. So it's the one we've got to top. So. No pressure.
That's Sean's favorite song, obviously, because it's the longest one.
Yeah, it's the longest one as well, yeah.
So for your band, you guys really started on the concept. Like some bands, they kind of start more like just jamming sessions, and eventually they kind of get something, and maybe that snowballs. But you already had an idea, a concept of what you really wanted to do, and it grew from there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah. Well, when we were working on Burning in the Cold, it was just myself and Andy Bay to start with. I just had some like sort of flute and organ ideas for keyboards and stuff. And I invited him down and put some guitar down, and he asked if he could try a vocal out and just go for it. I had no lyrics or anything, and he sung the "Come Along to the Sun" line that's at the end, and it sounded great, and he sung it well. But I was like, I wanted something dark and sinister, and I was like, what the fuck? That's like something from Hair, this isn't what I was expecting. But it sounded really good. It was great. But I needed to try and make it dark and sinister. So riding home from the studio that night, I was trying to think, how can we do this? And so I remember the film The Day the Earth Caught Fire, where the Earth is sort of being plunged towards the sun. And I thought, okay, it could probably work with that. And watched that when I got home, and a couple of times made notes. And then there was also a story by Ray Bradbury called Kaleidoscope, which the song Kaleidoscope is obviously based on, which is about crew of a space shuttle. Their shuttle gets torn apart in a meteor shower, and the story is essentially the conversation between the astronauts as they drift off to their impending doom while they're in their spacesuits. So I wanted to do a song about that, and then it just kind of come to the point where I thought, well, why don't we tie these two things in and draw, link it all together? And so it then became obviously an astronaut witnessing the end of the world from that. So we just had to write the other songs in to fill in the rest of the blanks in the story after that. So everything was written in mind after those first two songs of what the story would be.
Gotcha. So for you, do you feel like when you have kind of a story, you have a concept for where you're going with, you know, the entire atmosphere, do you feel that that makes it easier to write more songs and to keep a continuity for the album?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you already know where you're going with it, with the songs, and you know what sort of needs to be said. Trying to get that across might not be quite so easy because you've still got to come up with those lyrics and you've still got to come up with that music. But if there's like, for example, the very last song that was written, Servants of Science, that needed to be an angry song, and we kind of knew what it needed to be about. We knew it needed to be about sort of scientists doing kind of bad rather than good. And so we kind of knew what we had to write about, and we knew what the vibe of the song had to be. It needed to have sort of a bit of an angry sort of vibe to it. So that came really, really easily because we already knew exactly what the song should be. So it certainly makes it a lot easier having that almost like a guideline or something outlined like this. For the next album, God knows, we don't know what the story would be for that, but hopefully if we can come up with a story idea, then that should flow nice and easy too.
So that really helps the creative process, not getting writer's block when you have something that you can keep on, like a concept that you're anchored to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because yeah, you know what you're already writing about. If you've got like a blank page in front of you and you're just doing, you know, say a 10-track album of of just rock songs that are in no way linked, you've got to come up with something, a different idea or something every single time for those songs. But with this, we were able to kind of make a little go a long way, if you like, and take this story across all 7 tracks without having to come up with any other ideas. So it helps if you're really lazy. It's good.
I think
it's perfect for me.
Right. I think all good content creators are lazy and they find an efficient way of taking and channeling and anchoring themselves. I mean, that's why we have plans, why we have systems for being, a creative process, right? Because you can't just, you can't always just be instant inspiration. It's got to be, you got to be able to keep things going in a certain direction, like to have a whole album instead of just having like one little diddly, one little song.
Well, a great man once said, work smarter, not harder, didn't they? So that was Homer Simpson, but he's still a great man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Sorry, my lazy ass fell asleep. What were y'all talking about?
He's a bright, shining example.
Stuff, that's why. About the boring stuff.
Okay, well,
go back to the weather.
Bring the fun stuff, Miguel. Yeah, bring more weather news here.
Hey, stop picking on me. No, I have a lot of friends in England, and I hope when I tweet, they follow everything pretty much I say, so hopefully they'll give you guys a listen, and hopefully you get more fan base, and people, jump on your... That was going to sound really dirty there.
Edit that out.
You're going back to the... Getting back to those stalkers again now, aren't you?
Exactly. I hope you have as many as I do. No.
So I just now see what Sean's going to do for the cover for this.
I didn't even want to think about it. Thanks, Rick.
The cover for this the little picture cover for this podcast.
Well, apparently, Sean and myself were talking way too much, and Josh wants to ask a question, so go ahead, Josh.
Question. So, the name of your band, Servants of Science, where does that come from exactly?
We just stole it from the song. Basically, we had the music for the song, and then, but the lyrics hadn't come yet. And I was just riding to work one day, and the opening line, "Servants of Science and Sculptors of Dreams," popped in my head. So I just pulled over on my bike and made a note of it on my phone, and gradually sort of wrote the rest of the song over the next couple of days. Got the rest of the lyrics, but we just still didn't have a band name at the time, and so. I just thought, Servants of Science could probably work as a band name. And so just messaged the rest of the band. They all loved it. So, yeah, we went from there, really. Yeah, just stole it from the song. So we've got it. The band has a theme song, but the album doesn't, I don't think. I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're asking the wrong guy.
No, we got you. I got a good follow-up question to that. So what exactly does Servants of Science mean to you? Since, you were saying there at the end of the album, you're kind of getting into what science is really doing wrong. They're kind of fucking stuff up instead of making things better.
There it is.
So, well, it's Critical Thinking fucking podcast. Nice. So we got to have it in there somewhere. So the question is, what does that really mean to you then, like the title, the name, Servants of Science? Like, what are the concepts that kind of is playing with you guys?
Oh, shit, we're getting deep in here.
Oh, yeah, that is seriously deep.
Take a lean back on the chair as we talk. Sorry.
Right, well, yeah, I guess it kind of works for everyone, though. I mean, it's, I suppose you could kind of say, oh, God, this is going to sound so pretentious, but you could say, like, everyone is kind of servants of science now, really. We're all kind of walking along with our phones and stuff. We're all kind of living by that now. And
you don't know me.
But, technology's kind of really kind of taken over everyone's lives to a massive degree now. And I'm not going to complain because we're having this conversation now thanks to it. But yeah, I mean, there's to the point, though, where people will just walk out into the road looking at their phone because that's more interesting than whether or not they're going to get hit by a van or a lorry or something,
Too busy playing that fucking Pokemon Go.
Yeah, exactly.
As you can see, you're
describing more people than the plague, isn't it?
You described exactly what Miguel does.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about Miguel's the one who's driving while playing.
Miguel is getting very offended during this.
Seems like we're talking about me. So, obviously, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'll let you continue on if you have more to say.
We derailed him, guys. God damn it.
Too deep.
Okay,
it's Sunday.
Here you go, then. Since the first album is out, obviously, musicians tend to have a bunch of stuff on the block and already. Have you already started working on album 2, or do you have a bunch of music that you put on album 1 that you're going to save for album 2?
We didn't really sort of have any outtakes. The stuff that didn't make it on the album was just too awful from the start to even continue working on. That was just, yeah. But so that kind of, there's a few sort of things that fell by the wayside, but that was because they were shit.
Well, I got a good song for you on album 2. You ready?
Go on.
Atrocities of Miguel. There you go. Sounds like it just rolls off the tongue.
That's the title. That's the title sorted. We're good. As we were, it took so long to kind of mix and master the album, do all that boring stuff after you've done all the fun stuff of writing and recording, as all the stuff that comes after. And that was quite a lengthy process. And we had to wait for, the spacesuit to arrive from America as well. We actually bought that spacesuit that's on the cover of the album. There's not many albums that get delayed by a spacesuit. I think we've got our unique sales point there. So, yeah, whilst doing all these other bits and bobs while we were waiting for to actually have an album that we could put out, anytime ideas come up, we were recording them. There's a couple of songs done and a couple of ideas half done. So, yeah, we've got a little bit of a head start on album 2, but we're not really sure how that's going to pan out yet. I think at least for the next year or so, we'll be gigging the Swan Song and trying to just actually sell all the copies that we have of that because it's taking over the house. So I want my bedroom back.
Got another question. The name for your first album is kind of interesting. Swan Song. Where does that come from?
Well, that's from a lyric in the song Servants of Science, actually. Because we wanted, obviously, we had to come up with an album title, but we didn't really want it to have a title track as such, because that would probably put too much focus on one particular song. But there's a line in Servants of Science which says, the Swan Song's been scored. And so I was looking over the lyrics, the Swan Song just kept jumping out at me, and where it's obviously the Earth Swan Song, and there is also the possibility that it's actually somebody having a schizophrenic episode, so it's kind of their Swan Song as well. So it's fitted both potential storylines of the album, and it also had that kind of, I like the irony of it as a debut album as well.
That's what I was going to ask. We're going to see how smart are you really? Was this an intentional irony here?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there was a few factors. Also, it had that kind of sort of thing that Pink Floyd did occasionally, where the album title would be something from the lyrics, like "Dark Side of the Moon" comes from the song "Brain Damage," and the Division Bell comes from the song "High Hopes." So there was a nice little nod to our big heroes on that one as well. So we ticked a lot of boxes and come up with a name that's confused everyone. So that's good.
Oh yeah, always. That's always what we aim for, right?
Yeah, totally.
And I don't know if you've listened to any other episodes, but Sean, I think, used some of your music in a previous episode of ours as well. So we've been trying to give you as much play as we can here and there whenever we do our little bits. There's an injection of sound in there. So, and he'll be introducing another song about right now.
I listened to the one where someone had an ultrasound on their balls. Who was that?
Oh Lord! Was that Larry or was that Kevin?
That was
Larry. That was Larry.
Yeah.
Right. That just messed up the whole day.
I don't know. I thought it set a new high for us.
You got to check yourself out, bro. That's what he's saying.
We brought in public health awareness. I mean, come
nice.
on. We care about our listeners.
We care about their balls. Is that what you're trying to say? Jesus.
Passing silhouettes on the staircase, and stalling in between the gods and souls overgrown. The mail is piled up in the hall, and the dogs howl just like trains. The summer rain begins to fall on another day.
You know, Stuart, I'm going to say this right now, that we here at Critical Thinking really appreciate your passion and your love for music, and it comes out in the music, and we can tell. I've enjoyed, like I said, the soundtrack. I've listened to most of the songs. I take that back. I listened to all of them, and there's a few of mine that are really stuck to me, and they kind of spoke to me, and actually I can understand the words, which is kind of cool, because I've listened to music before. It's like, what the hell are they saying? But the music, yeah, but the music, the rhythm and everything else is amazing.
Yeah,
and that's one thing about your music. Like Another Day, take that song for instance. When it starts playing and you start listening, it's like I feel like I'm playing a video game and I'm like in an epic battle, and then all of a sudden a bad section happened, and all of a sudden here comes the epicness again. I was like, wow, this is really catching. This is really cool. As I noticed, I was doing 95 miles an hour in the car, slowing back down. So I mean, that's what your music. I love music. I was in a band in high school, and I just love music. Period. I listen to everything and anything. And if the music captivates me and speaks to me in certain ways, I get sucked in, and that's what your music was doing. It sucked me in, meaning it has great potential. I find it very, at some points I find some of it was very relaxing. Some of it felt like I wanted to take a gun to my head, but I'm just saying. But that not being a bad thing, that being showing you how intense it is.
There are parts of the album where you shouldn't be operating heavy machinery. You do realize this.
Put that disclaimer on the back of the CD.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When the music is powerful enough, you feel it. You feel it emotionally, and that's what I got from this album. And I can't tell you, but, you know, I really hope that everyone in England and everyone here everywhere, Germany, Australia, whoever you play, really. Around the world, yeah, pretty much gets it and understands it. I mean, I know some people won't, but the real musician people who love music, it will speak to them, and like it did to me a little bit, coming, like I said, listening to it the very first time and listening to it again and whatnot. So, great job. I wish you the best of luck, and we'll do everything we can here to give you play as much as we can.
We really appreciate that. That's amazing. Thank you.
You guys definitely have the interview music from now on. The intro is probably going to be your guys' song, so... That's what's going to be the thing.
Will it be Miguel singing it though?
Yeah, we're going to do a remix. That's what we're going to do.
Oh my god! Okay, will I be singing it in regular English, Hispanic game show voice, or will I be doing it in my terrible Irish or terrible English? How about my Australian accent?
Oh my god!
What part of Australia was that? Atlantis?
From the land down under. Fine, I'll sing their album in Merman. Hello, everybody. There's your Atlantis.
We'll auto-tune your merman. That's how we'll do it.
This fucking guy. There you go. So, come on, you guys got a bunch of questions for Stuart. So tell us, Stuart, are you married?
Why are you asking, Miguel?
America wants to know.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No,
okay, he's a starving artist, ladies and gentlemen, and he's single.
I'm sensible.
He's sensible. There you go.
No, man. He's a smart musician, so when he starts making it big and all that stuff gets thrown at him, he can take it all.
Oh yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you got to be prepared for these things.
That's what I'm telling you. See, smart man.
Yeah, you don't become a musician if you're married.
That's right.
That was foolish. You know.
We'll be reading an article about him later down the road. Behind the music.
And that would just be the worst autobiography as well, wouldn't it? Yeah, done a gig, didn't do really anything after.
No, but you know what? You've made it when you get a behind the scene VH1 episode. Let's go behind the curtain. Stuart was a rock man with lots of women, then one fateful night.
See,
that one fateful fortnight.
That's why you go ahead and you beat him to the punch. You already write your own terrible story, or you have somebody already make it up about you. Then you don't even have to deal with that shit.
There you go.
Perfect.
Are you his publicist now?
Hey, you need a publicist?
You've got the job.
Nice. So, people for here in America, obviously, I don't understand, or I can't translate. It's what, £12 for the album in England, or how much?
The vinyl's £12, which is, since Brexit, that's probably worth about 50p now. So, it's £12 for the vinyl, £7 for the CD, and then £5 to download it. And I should give the address, shouldn't I? Really, I guess, which is www.servantsofscience.com. But it's also on iTunes and Spotify and Amazon and all those kind of things that are just everybody goes to. So
Gotcha.
it's all out there in the world, yeah.
Good Lord,
But
man.
if you buy it direct from us, we get more money.
I understand that, but good Lord, $12 for you is $17 for us, and that's not even shipping and handling. I better get some selfies in that album or something. Something better come. Better get some photos or some signs.
Send Miguel a nice dick pic.
Oh, what the hell? No, man, I was hoping to get the young lady.
We're gonna send you an album called The Fong Song. That's
We'll donate that
you
to
get
Sean.
a special edition.
Oh God! I want to get an album signed.
Yeah, well, we can probably manage that. Some of the band members can write, so we'll be all right for that.
They can write. Hey, you know what? Maybe here's some idea. I don't know. I don't know where you're at in the situation financially or whatever. If you were to send us a couple albums, we could probably do a giveaway to our listeners and see, if they could call, listen in and answer some trivia questions on when we do our Periscope. Whenever we do Periscope, we can do that and get people to get a winning CD or something like that. I don't think they want dick pics, but Sean may want those.
We'll see who's up for doing that. Yeah.
Josh does one every day. It's called a pick of the day. Here I am peeing. So, all right there, brother. We don't want to cut you short, but we want you to give everybody in the world where they can find you, how they can contact you, how they can look you up, how they can find your CD, your DVD, your vinyl, your Twitter, everything you want to give out. Please feel free to give out right now. Social Security, no, it's all up to you.
PIN number, it's www.servantsofscience.com. That's kind of probably the easiest address to give, and that links to everything anyway on there. So all the Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. That there's links to all that on there, and links to being able to buy the album in its various formats as well. No dick pics yet, though, sadly. So we're working on it. We are working on that. We just need it to get a little bit warmer,
Nice.
Just hold on, Miguel.
Hey, what the hell, man? It's cold up here.
Winter in England. You don't do dick pics in winter in England. You set yourselves up for a fall.
You gave your website, and you told pretty much everybody where they can get your CD. Any shout outs to your whoever
sponsors, partners, whoever is backing you guys, is with you guys in all of this. Any shout outs you want to give?
Oh, right, yeah. Well, we're going it alone at the moment. We're actually, I guess, where some of us have got sort of 25 plus years experience, we've kind of got to know the industry fairly well. And we're doing this all by ourselves, but it seems to be working. The trouble is nobody wants to sign anyone anyway now. So,
right.
Napster just threw the music industry on its arse. So, and it's still kind of recovering from that. But, so no one to say thank you to. Fuck them.
Now he's a member of the podcast.
That's freaking awesome.
No, obviously, thank you, though, to obviously you guys and obviously people like yourself that have got behind us and given us a chance to get the word out there. That really means a lot, actually. That's the people that are kind of sponsoring us, I guess, really, the people that are helping us achieve our aim. So, it's not record labels anymore. It's people like yourselves, and, what you give for us bands is pretty phenomenal. It means a lot.
Hey, not a problem, Stuart. Again, when you're doing any of your stuff down the road, any shows or anything like that, please feel free to tag us in any pictures. You can just, when you do the picture, you can tag us, Critical Thinking. You can tag me, Podcaster MG, or whoever, one of the guys. It doesn't matter. So we can retweet it for you down the road if there's any shows or anything you want to promote. Feel free to shoot that up. Let us know. We can tweet that out for you as well. Put it on our Facebook page or whatever. We'll do whatever we can. Obviously, like I said, Sean's going to mix into some of your songs in this podcast. We probably will use some of your songs down the road, pretty much as intros to certain things because we like the music. Again, we appreciate that.
I'll tell you what I can do if you guys want. I haven't finished mixing it yet, but there will be an instrumental version of the album, which I could probably give you a download of.
That would be great. That would actually be awesome.
You could send that to Sean. You can send it to us at criticalthinking247@gmail.com, correct?
Yeah.
Or is that Dropbox?
He could send the link to us there.
Yeah, send the link to us there, and Sean can get to it from there.
Because then there's a version that people can use as beds for their shows and stuff as well. Then you see,
right?
So that's quite
you're
handy.
You're going to be getting credit at the end of every episode when we have your music there for sure.
Cool. Thank you. That's awesome.
And like I said, even though we asked, for stuff we could give away, I mean, obviously, if you're not in a position to do that, that's fine.
That's cool.
Most of us will probably order a CD anyway or whatnot, and probably notice you had shirts out there too. So I want my shirt to say "fuck" on the back when I order it, and I'll let you know it's me.
Well, you guys need to have a specific shirt that says "fuck everyone," just like he said in his show.
Brought to you by the Critical Four and Science Servants of Science.
We need to collaborate on some merchandise here. I see it.
SOS and C4 say "fuck all y'all." There you go. You guys, anything else?
But yeah. I mean, we could certainly do a competition though. Yeah, we did like a couple of CDs. We were still waiting for the vinyl anyway, so I'm not really sure how long that'd be. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to throw a couple of questions out for a couple of CDs, that's cool by us.
Okay, I will send you. We'll message you the address of where to send it to here. And we'll wait a little bit, obviously, before we do that. This will probably come out Thursday. It'll be on all our shows. It'll be on. Obviously, we'll be playing on our iTunes, our Podbean, all that stuff. But we also get radio play. So nice. Beyond the Dawn plays us on Saturdays, and they replay us on Saturdays. We play us Thursday nights. No Fucks Given Radio plays us on Thursday nights, and Sling Fling, which is SFD Radio, plays us on Thursday nights as well. All different times. So those are some more venues if you wanted to reach out to people. Those guys are with us, and they're pretty cool. So they're probably
Beyond the Dawn is all about indie rock anyway. So that might be a really good connection for you guys.
Yeah, and No Fucks Given.
Yeah,
No Fucks.
I'm familiar with those guys actually. Yeah, I think I have actually contacted them at some point.
Nice.
Sure.
Nice.
And if you want to hit your Canadian base also, I'd reach out to the Pod couple.
Yeah, actually, we've been getting quite a bit of play over in Canada. Done a few interviews for there as well, and
you can tell them we sent you, especially Sean, because Sean is real good buddies with the Pod couple out in Canada, so they might be able to squeeze you into the show. They'll be coming on our show down the road too. So if you gotten,
the Pod couple, yeah,
yes, the Pod couple. If you haven't gotten on their show by then, we'll remind them.
Cool. Sean from obviously Critical Thinking. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll hit those guys up then and see what they say.
And now the guys want you to say our phrase, which is going to be great. If you want to, you can add a "fuck it" at the end.
Can I just call you Critical Fucking Thinking?
There you go.
Do it. Customize it, man.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Go for it.
I can see it all from here, falling away.
That was great.
I forgot to say what I do in the band, but I don't do fuck all anyway.
Now give it to us in a singing voice. There you go.
I can give you my best English accents if you like.
Okay, give it to us. I want Australian.
G'day. Yeah,
I guarantee it's better than the rest of us.
Right.
How about your American accent? Let's have that. Let's have your fake American accent.
Wow.
My fake American accent. I can barely do a
try
fucking English accent.
Come on, try it. Come on, you've heard Miguel embarrassing himself and all the rest of us.
An American accent. God, I can't even think of. Oh God. Like, no, see, I swear to myself before I even start.
You can do this, Stuart.
Accents.
I believe in you, Stuart.
Forget about it.
I love it. That's going in here somewhere.
Good. Keep that as a sample, and then when everybody says something stupid, just hit that.
There we go.
Which would probably be every 10 seconds.
Stuart says, forget about it. Fuck you. You fucking wanker.
In an undetermined accent.
Glad to have you on the show,
That could be one of the questions. What the hell is that accent?
There we go. Hey.
There you go. There's your question. Win a CD if you can work out what that accent's meant to be.
Nice.
I love it.
Right.
Anything else, gentlemen?
I've done a lot of talking today.
Yeah, we know.
Again.
Yeah.
It was nice having you on the show.
It's been brilliant. Yeah, I've really enjoyed that. Some of the sort of prog shows that are quite sort of serious, so it's nice to just let loose.
Oh, yeah.
I hear you.
And
I just thought of something. If you do your show and you actually record it while you're doing your show, you can release a live show of it. But send us something on that too. We'll be glad to have that. Whatever you want to send us, we'll be glad to take. We'll do whatever we can.
We'll put up clips on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. We kind of have a trifecta where we each handle one of those. So you send us stuff like that. We would love to cross promote your videos and things you put out there.
Pictures of you and your mates as well. I mean, I can put those on Twitter and whatever. Sean can make funny pictures out of them too.
Yeah,
so.
definitely. Get us some pictures so we can make a funny cover.
Well, if you can make the dick pics flatter.
Don't worry, I can blow those up.
Oh, Lord have mercy. He's had practice.
Yeah, every time I make Miguel's face bigger.
Oh, wow.
That's hilarious.
You guys are wrong for that.
All right, guys. Okay, yeah, well, I'll best get cracking, I suppose. I've got to record a load of stuff for a station in Greece now as well,
Sweet.
So... Yeah.
Awesome.
Non-stop,
Big man, big business.
Definitely keep in touch with us. Good luck with everything you're doing. Anything comes down the road, you want promos or whatever, just let us know. We'll be glad to stay with you and ride this wave with you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, and don't forget, obviously, firing me off a couple of addresses if you run a competition, and I'll get CDs in the post for them.
We'll do. Sure. And I'll make sure Rick sends you his dick pic.
Perfect. It's a deal.
All right. You take care, man.
Take it easy, Stuart.
And you guys. Have a good one.
You too.
See you later.
Hey guys, you can connect with us on iTunes
At Critical Thinking Podcast.
and Twitter
At critic_thinking.
and also on Facebook and Instagram.
At Critical Thinking Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Critical Thinking is on Beyond the Dawn Radio, which is known for playing the best indie radio music around the world.
On Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Central Time.
And if you like the show, please 5-star the episode and tell your friends. So thank you for joining us, thinking shit through one podcast at a time.